dropping down into second gear, no hint of a spin. So again, on the third track, it looks like we've solved the problem by elongating first and second gear. The gravel, come on. I knew I'd brake too deep then. That's annoying because I was up on that lap. And that spin was, well, I mean, I was offline, too much throttle. But again, we seem to have solved the silly little second gear spins. I've got better traction in first and second gear, even though I did just spin it then, but I was offline and I knew I'd put too much throttle down. Now I did say that I wasn't going to play about too much with the setups, but because the car isn't feeling too good on turning or on the brakes, I am going to have a little bit of a look at those. Now I could play around with the tyre pressure, but I'm not going to bother. Brake pressure is currently at 85%. Now that's not too bad really, but I do feel like I need a little bit more oomph in the brakes, so I am going to up it to 90%. That could make it start locking up. We will soon find out. Okay, downforce is on 4.0 and 4.0. I don't really want to lower that much more. At the end of the day, I want the front end to be steering more, so I could increase the front aeros, but I don't really want to do that. So instead, let's go and have a look at the cambers. See, the camber angles, that's got quite a bit of camber on it already. So do I tell you what, 3.4 is what I would have gone to for the camber angle anyway. So let's give it a touch more front aeros. Let's see what that does. But then it is possible that with the amount of camber that is on the front, the reason we're getting the understeer is the wheels are turning too much and the slip angle is too small, causing the front ends to slide and understeer. We'll see if this aero change has helped that. If not, we can go and adjust the camber angle. Already it does feel like it has helped. Whether it'll help on lap time or not, it's soon to find out. Not that I've actually put a very good lap in already, but it's one of those things with these. If you're a pad user, you never really will feel the difference of what a setup change makes. You may see it, you may notice it on lap time, but you'll never feel it. And that's where wheel users do have a bit of an advantage if they know what they're doing, because you can feel the changes you make. And I would never advise anyone to make lots of setup changes. Whoa, bit of an off throttle spin there. Yeah, I mean, if I'd driven this out of the box and thought, okay, I need better brakes, I need more grip, I need this, I need that, and changed 20 different things, the car could handle like a dog and you'll never know what it is that's caused it. Whereas if you do one thing at a time, you can tell whether that's worked or not. Now I can already tell that the increased front aeros has helped with the grip. proven by we never once was able to touch that curb previously. Again, able to drop it down into second nice and early and not have a problem. Very, very quick down the gears then. No hint of a spin. Oh, nearly there. Now that one I would put down to driving. I did knock it up to third, eased off, knocked it down to second. You do have to be careful of how you actually do drive the vehicle. I mean, I've had people say to me before on different games, saying, Dave, this car just keeps drifting the rear end out. And I'm like, okay, well, perhaps you're accidentally initiating a drift. Tell me what you're doing. And they'll be like, well, I lift off, bang the brakes on and bang the throttle on. And well, with some games, you do it in that particular combination, add a little bit of steering in there, and you're initiating a drift. Especially if you bang the throttle on. Now I have got some vibration coming through the wheel, so I think that little off that I've had has caused a bit of damage. Either that or I've got dirty tyres again, and it's going to take a while to wear off. See, that's just ridiculous how aggressively I can go down to second gear. Ooh, okay, so interesting how I've made the aero change and now I'm having moments around that particular corner. We may have to take a different approach into that right-hander, or it could be the damage. I mean, looking at my right front tyre, it's sort of vibrating to cold, hot, cold, hot. That could be where my little bit of damage is on the car. Or it could just be the nature of the circuit, that it is predominantly right-handers, meaning that the right front isn't under too much pressure. Risking the arm there, riding that curb. You see, if I get up into third nice and early, the transition back down to second makes that corner much easier. I had that in another car. Trying to think which car it was, the corner it was, I can't remember. But basically, I mean, I'll use turn 1 as an example here. If I was driving down here in 6th gear and I didn't top the car out in 6th and I slowed down and braked for this corner, I'd spin the car out. But if I actually went up to 7th and dropped it down to the same gear, it wouldn't spin the car out. Something to do with the transition through the gears, the stability of the car, the balance of the car, the weight transfer of the car and things like that. Also the amount of revs that the engine is going through will make a difference. Okay, the vibration is still there, so the damage must still be, there must be damage on the car and not just a cold tyre. So I'm going to go and try and put a lap here without spinning the car or anything daft like that. And obviously my lap times aren't going to be lightning fast. Excuse me, quite a bit of fuel in the car. I'm just not reducing it. I could do to see how quick I can go, but this isn't about going quick. It's about keeping the car on the bloody road. And increasing the front aeros has definitely helped with turning, grip round the corners, but it's the gear change that has made all the difference. That is what's made this car drivable now. Now I've spun that because I did exactly what I did earlier. I actually lifted off, went up to third, gave it a blip of throttle, lifted off again, and that's what caused the spin. And now I've got that vibration back. Perhaps it's a flat spot on the tyre then. Oh well, we'll have to live with it. Just going to see what we can do. Now if it is a flat spot that's causing my wheel to vibrate, then this will be the first console game that I know of that actively has flat spot interference, because I can feel the wheel vibrating. I've always thought it's something that they should have on the F1 games as well. If you lock up a wheel, you should have a flat spot on it, especially if you've got tyre wear on. Oh, should not lift off there, Dave. Get into third early. Hello, Gustavo. I'm using the Thrustmaster T300. Excuse me. I was using the Driving Force GT on the PS3. It took me upshift to stop working. So I figured, okay, let's get ready for the PS4, and went for the Thrustmaster T300. And I've had people asking me, is the Thrustmaster T300 worth 300 odd quid? The answer is hell yes. Now I've never used a T80, and that's the cheapest of the Thrustmaster wheels. I have used a T100. Admittedly, it was on F1 2014 on the PS3, but that wheel, which I think retails at about £100, I think T80's at 80, T100's at 100. Coincidence? Perhaps not. Yeah, so I used that on F1 2014 just as a testing it for my brother, and it pretty much turned me from a two-time front row racing champion into a noob straight away. At that point I did recommend my brother buys himself a T300, which he managed to do. Well, actually I told him get an adapter for your DFGT on the PS4. Oh, I've done it again. See, this spin I'm having now, it's down to my driving, not the car setup. Yeah, so told him the DFGT would be better on the PS3 than the T100, and it was. He was many seconds